The city of Big Shoulders has always been a melting pot, but new U.S. Census data suggests it's gaining in diversity. Despite national headlines about political corruption and street violence, Chicago saw its population grow by 2% over the past decade, allowing it to hold on to its title as the third largest city in the United States. Let's take an overview of Chicago, Illinois, the third largest city in the USA. Number 8. Character of the city. A drive across Chicago's lively immigrant neighborhoods is a trip around the world. The cultures of virtually every country can be found in food stores, restaurants, clothing shops, music, and video dealers, places of worship, and street corner conversations. Chicago's dizzying growth in the 19th century led to a reputation not only for disorder and political corruption, but also for creativity in the arts, architecture, and business. The resulting economic opportunities also contributed to the diversity of the city's population. Chicago never fulfilled its dream of becoming the largest American city, but between 1890 and 1982, it was second only to New York City. That fact has contributed much to the city's reputed personality. In the 19th century, it had the image of being aggressive and self-promoting, stealing population and businesses from the East. Chicago's Windy City nickname, in fact, came not from lake breezes, but from its braggadocio, exhibited most dramatically in the 1890s, when it pushed aside New York and St. Louis, Missouri, in the competition to become the site of the World's Columbian Exposition of 1893. Poet Carl Sandburg hailed it as the city of the big shoulders, cunning and cruel, yet creative and strangely attractive. It was the Toddlin' Town of the 1920s tune, and Frank Sinatra famously proclaimed it my kind of town. New York writer A.J. Liebling belittled its provinciality in a stinging series of magazine articles collected in the 1952 book Chicago, the Second City. Chicago eventually forgot the book, but the adopted epitaph stuck. Under the reign of the late Mayor Richard J. Daley, efficient municipal services made it the city that works. Chicagoans still like to refer to it as the city of neighborhoods, even though that description can carry connotations of segregation by race, ethnicity, and social class. Its position as a hub for rail and air travel has always meant that at any one time, a large portion of the people in the city are out-of-towners. Over the years, this location has fostered a lively convention trade. In fact, that has led hundreds of organizations and corporations to call it home. As the metropolis of the country's midsection, from the southern Great Plains of Canada and as far as west as the Rocky Mountains, Chicago ranks among the country's top tourist destinations. On any given day, the parking lots of its museums are filled with cars from dozens of surrounding states, while its varied retailers and wholesalers have long been an interstate and international magnet for shoppers. Number 7. People of Chicago. The most important fact about Chicago's population is its historic and rich diversity. Early Chicago was inhabited by the Sauk, or Sac, Fox, and Potawatomi peoples, and the first permanent non-native resident, Jean-Baptiste Point du Sable, or du Sable, was of French-African heritage by way of the West Indies. French-Canadian traders mixed with settlers from New England and the Middle Atlantic states. Irish, German, and Scandinavian immigrants began to pour in during the 1840s. In 1850, more than half of the population was foreign-born. During the latter half of the 19th century, arrivals from Italy, Poland, Russia, Ukraine, Greece, Lithuania, Bohemia, China, and smaller countries entered the city through diverse portal neighborhoods that were located just northwest and southwest of downtown. As they moved outward, they created communities that were virtually self-contained enclaves of commercial, social, and cultural activity. Elaborate churches and synagogues, many of which still survive, were often the center of their lives. Race became a diverse issue after the turn of the 20th century. Job opportunities during World War I and restrictions on foreign immigration after 1924 lured tens of thousands of African Americans from the South. These new arrivals poured into a community on the city's south side that had existed since the mid-19th century. Soon dubbed Bronzeville, it became a center of vibrant African American culture, amusement, and entrepreneurship. Mounting racial tensions, exacerbated by overcrowded and segregated housing of the South Side and the return of former soldiers, exploded in July 1919 into one of the country's worst race riots, which claimed 38 lives. Meanwhile, Mexican Americans who had responded to the same wartime opportunities and who were exempt from the 1924 legislation came by the thousands, attracted by jobs in railroading, steel, and meatpacking. The Great Depression of the 1930s effectively halted the city's growth, but World War II again attracted thousands of African Americans to work in defense plants and initiated a new wave of immigration that grew rapidly during the 1950s. Refugees from Lithuania, Poland, and other Eastern European countries also arrived after the war, as did newcomers from the U.S. territory of Puerto Rico. At the same time, a thriving Japanese-American community sprang from the relocation of workers from wartime internment camps to Chicago. Number 6, big city, big employment. Chicago wasn't called the city that works for nothing. Home of 31 Fortune 500 company headquarters, including airplane manufacturer Boeing, family brand Kraft Foods Group Incorporated, insurance giant Allstate Corporation, construction equipment manufacturer Caterpillar Incorporated, and even global fast food chain McDonald's Corporation. Chicago has plenty of employment opportunities for anyone looking to work with a big company in an even bigger playing field. Despite being the third largest metropolitan area in the U.S., Chicago's cost of living is just above the U.S. national average. So if you're moving from a more modest city in the Midwest to Chicago, it's an easy step up. Number 5, unique areas within the Chicago Metro. Within Chicago's 237 square miles of land, there are 77 communities and more than 100 neighborhoods, all with their own identities. For instance, the Puerto Rican roots in Humboldt Park in West Chicago run deep, while North Chicago's uptown embraces its Prohibition history with jazz and nightlife. For fine arts and museums, you'll want Bridgeport and Hyde Park in South Chicago. And if you want the major tourist spots like the Bean in Millennium Park or the Chicago Theater District, head to downtown Chicago Loop. Number 4, Chicagoans love festivals. One of the most well-known festivals in Chicago is Loopapalooza, a 3-day music event that takes place in the Loop's Grant Park each August. Originally a concert tour in the 90s, it became a bigger deal in 2004 and has featured hundreds of acts including Red Hot Chili Peppers, Black Sabbath, and Macklemore and Ryan Lewis. 3. Transportation. Chicago continues to be the country's rail transportation hub. Each day, thousands of Amtrak passengers arrive or change trains at Union Station, much as railway travelers did 150 years ago. Number 2. Walk through Millennium Park. Millennium Park is part of the larger Grant Park, located in downtown Chicago, bordered by Michigan Avenue to the west, Columbus Drive to the east, Randolph Street to the north, and Monroe Street to the south. Its centerpiece is a 110-ton sculpture named Cloud Gate, which was a polished, mirror-like stainless steel surface that was inspired by liquid mercury. It reflects the surroundings, including buildings, the sky, and the tourists who walk through its central arch. Number 1. An artistic paradise. If you want to experience both local and international art, you'll be happy to know Chicago has hundreds of art galleries. Be sure to check out Second Fridays at the Chicago Arts District in the Lower West Side, where more than 30 galleries invite guests to take in new exhibits and pieces. You should also never miss a chance to visit the Art Institute of Chicago, home of the largest collection of Impressionist paintings outside of the Musée d'Orsay in Paris, France. Do let us know in the comments if you want to visit this big city. Please subscribe to Travel the World. Thanks for watching.